So today we're going to be talking about the new map Lotus and how I think that this map will play out at a very high level or the pro level. And of course it will be difficult to fully know, right? We don't know what the meta is going to be. We don't know what agents are going to get picked, and that will change how the map plays out. But I do think that there are some things just about this map when we look at the layout of this map that you can say pretty much for certain, and so we're gonna dive into those things and try and talk about what are the crucial areas of this map, what do you need to be doing to winning games on Lotus. And so I'm sure most of you watching this already know the kind of basics of the map, that it's a 3-site map, that you have the kind of, revolving doors as the kind of gimmick, but we're gonna talk specifically about, the kind of areas of this map and which areas are really, really important to this map. And we're gonna start off by just talking about here, towards a main, and why this is by far, in my opinion, the most important area of the map. And I've just left up the spawn barrier so you can see where the attackers and defenders are starting to get a decent idea. Okay, the defenders are starting here, the attackers are starting back there. What might this look like, right? Because this is where I think the main fight for the space is going to happen. In this kind of square here, right? So from where the barriers start just there, in towards the breakable door, in towards the revolving door, and to the spawn here for the attackers. This is where I think a large portion of an early round in most pro rounds is going to happen. And let me explain why. So the first and perhaps most obvious reason is because of this breakable door, right? If we can't break this door as the attackers, if this door does not go down, then that obviously limits what we can do. It's like one little way that we can't go. The defenders know we can't go this way if that door is not broken, right? And so if we just take a think about that and think about what that means for us, what that means is if we don't break that door, when we come towards this B site, we only have one way in, really, and that's through here and then through here. And something you might notice about this space is that it's quite small, quite congested, and the site itself, the B site, is pretty small and congested as well. So that means that any raise nade, any sage slow, any bit of utility that can stop you is going to stop you, because any raise nade in here, you're gonna have to retreat, right? Like any sage slow in here, you're gonna all be slowed, right? It's just a really small space, and that means that any one bit of utility is gonna have a big impact because it is such a small space. And so if we don't break that door, probably running in here, just as a big team, I'm not saying it won't work, and that it's something that you should never do, but it's going to be tricky, right? It's not going to be an easy thing to do. And then we come towards this C site as our other option. If, we're not going to bother with A main, right? We're not going to bother with that space. We're just going to give the defenders this space. Who cares, right? Well, then if we're not going towards B, our other option is to come towards C. And again, this is why I want to leave the spawn barriers up, just so you can see where the attackers and defenders are starting, because as the attackers, we're starting pretty far back, right? We have to run all this way to get to here, and we get to this space, whereas the defenders, they start right here, right? So they just have to take a couple steps and they're into kind of this mound space here. And so really this is a space that you as the attackers will have to take from the defenders, right? The defenders are probably going to put up a fight in towards this space to just start off with, so you're going to have to take a space before you actually even get towards the site. And then when we actually come in towards this C site, there is another problem with this as well, and that is where we can plant the spike. So this line here is showing us where we can plant the spike on this C site, but you're going to see that that's pretty deep into the site, right? From where we start here, coming back in here, right, we have to go quite a way into the site. We have to take a real lot of the site to actually get just the spike down, right? So we're going to have to take all the way back to there, all the way up to there, to get the spike down. And this is a site with multiple angles, multiple elevations, as you can see, right? We have to look right, we have to look left, we have to look up. It's not easy. There's going to be a ton of different things going on for the defenders. Again, this isn't a massive choke point, so again, any kind of molly in here or something like that will be able to stop you as well, right? So not an easy site to take, especially considering that you have to really take the whole site, and you can't just take like a bit of it and then walk away. And you might think, is that not the case on every site? And honestly, the answer is no, you don't have to take every bit of a site. This A site, for instance, is kind of the opposite, right? Someone could be at the very back of like the drop here, but I could plant the spike here and probably be safe from anyone back there, right? This is quite a way for them to run and give away their position. So it's not like every site is like that in the game. And actually, I do expect that this A site will somewhat just be a kind of, get to here and plant the spike for a large part, just making sure that there isn't anyone like super close. But other than that, just plant the spike. And so the difference on that C site is that you just really need to take it all. That's not going to be easy either. And so you can see straight away that if we don't take this A main space, if we just give that up to the defenders, our options are very limited and they're quite difficult, right? It's either run through a very small, narrow choke point onto a very congested site, or try and take a whole space and then take a difficult site as well. Very, very difficult to do if we're the attackers. And so you can see straight away that our options are kind of already leaning towards like, yeah, let's probably take a main here. Because when we break this door as the attackers, and maybe we've taken this early space in A, now we're the team that has options, okay? Now our options have gone from like very narrow, very limited, you know, not so great choices. All of a sudden it all opens up for us destroying this door, because now we can threaten quite a few different things, okay? The first thing is that, you know, if we've taken this A main space, that means, you know, we've got up to this door. We can threaten to come here through the door and maybe also attack the A site from multiple directions, right? That's the first thing. First things first, we can probably attack the A site. You know, it's opening up a whole site to us. And I think of the 3 sites, as I mentioned, this is probably the easiest to get the spike down anyway. So, you know, we're opening up the easiest site to us, right? So that's great. That's a start. But if that goes wrong, you know, we could maybe put a smoke down here and actually quickly pivot to B instead. And instead of having to come through one narrow choke point like this, instead now we have, you know, 2 directions to enter from. So if any defender is, you know, like up on here, they can't just stare one direction and send all their utility one way. We're coming from multiple directions, and that's going to help us as well. But once we've taken this space here in A main, you know, once we've got up to this box and we've got that space and we've got this door destroyed as well, we can then start pivoting to the other sides of the map as well. And really, you know, once we've got this bit of space, we can then start pivoting back and go, okay, let's come back towards C, right? Let's push them back off of C. And now we can do a lot of stuff, right? Now we can do a lot where if we just push them back out of this space, we can threaten to go towards C. We can threaten to come towards B quickly with a little pivot here, and maybe we've left someone at that door, right? And we're going to do that B split quickly on you. Maybe we're going to come to C. Maybe we're going to pivot and come back to A as well, right? Maybe we don't like this B site. We think it's a bit too congested or whatnot. Maybe we even quickly pivot through the B site. I actually think that that's something that could happen quite often if we feel very confident in this space here and quickly pivot to the A site instead, you know, trying to bait those rotations out and confuse the defenders and whatnot. And that all starts with here in A main and taking this space. So what I expect is going to happen on this map is that a default is probably going to look like at least 3 attackers coming towards this A side of the map, right? 3 attackers at least. Maybe 1, you know, just stays kind of in this area towards B and just checks that no one pushes out. And again, 1 person just stays towards C, maybe, you know, just checks that, you know, they aren't getting aggressive, the defenders and whatnot, you know, just playing passive towards C as well, whilst we try and take A main and destroy the door and just, you know, collect some information on what's going on the rest of the map. That is what I expect. And I honestly expect the defenders as well to put a lot of emphasis on this, right? To maybe, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see, you know, a smoke or like a starlight there from an Astra, right? That turns in, you know, to an Astra suck or something like that, right? And then maybe you send a Raise Nade or a Seize or, you know, something, right? Just, you're sending utility in towards there early on. Because remember, the defenders spawn about here, right? Halfway down this box. So they can get here pretty quick, right? And you can have a battle here very, very quickly if you want to as the defenders. And so this is going to be, I think, a big, big battleground on this map. And I think once you understand that and once you understand the importance of taking this space, destroying the door, and then, you know, from there, you have options to either just go towards A if you want to come and pivot back towards B, to maybe come back and push people off C and then threaten towards C or threaten towards B, or then even come back towards A as well. There's a lot of lurking opportunities, I think, on this map as well, particularly if, you know, again, you've taken this A space, maybe someone sneaks down towards stairs, right, and gets into their spawn. That is a big possibility as well. So when we're looking at this map, this is the crucial area of the map. This is the part of the map that at the start of every round, every single attacking round, I think, pretty much, unless maybe, you know, once or twice you're on a save, you know, run it down B, you run it down C, you know, every so often just to mix it up. But most rounds that you are playing on the attack side here as the attackers, you want to be taking this A main area, you want to be destroying that door, and then you want to be figuring out your options from there. That is how this map is going to play out. I guarantee it.